K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Holistic Health and Hot Mamas. I'm here. It's just Courtney and I tonight for the time being. We expect Kathleen to be hopping on momentarily, and hopefully Erin will as well. But let's start the week by, we'll talk about our celebrations. Court, what do you have to celebrate tonight?
So we had Valentine's Day, and that was good. My husband and I went out to dinner. My new job is going really well. I really enjoy it. And we brought my daughters to go see the ice castles in Lake George in upstate New York this week, and that was really fun. It was really pretty.
Yeah, that sounds fun. And I want to just say hi quickly. We have Frank Jersey. Hi, Frank. How are you? Welcome to the conversation. We're glad to have you. Now we got President's Day coming up. That's something to celebrate for sure. So same for me. Let's bring Erin in. Hi, Erin. Welcome to the conversation. We're just getting into our celebrations. Courtney was talking about Valentine's Day. I had celebrated that as well. My husband actually got me an unsolicited, thoughtful gift for
Wow.
Could be the first time ever. It was this little Coach purse that I had wanted. His sister got it at Christmas, so I was very proud of him.
Impressive.
It was impressive. My son got his driver's permit. We had his sweet 16th birthday. I guess boys probably don't like to call it that, but what could we call it? I don't know. What could we call it for men? Still sweet in a mother's eyes. Super Bowl was fun. That was an exciting game. I had a Super Bowl. We did our Super Bowl special with my co-hosts Bodine Sanders and Adrian Ferris. That was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of special guests, met some new friends, and that turned out to be well. And we've had some pretty decent weather in this week. We had some very cold weather, but the next couple of days are going to be nice. So I'm going to be celebrating that. What about you, Erin?
We did the Valentine's thing. We did 2 Valentine's Day parties at school, so that was fun. I was a little disappointed in the Super Bowl commercials. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like it was a little bit lackluster. What else was going on? Well, we just did our usual swimming at Sakati. Nothing crazy going on. I got my second round of COVID shot, and it knocked me on my butt. I was like completely out of commission yesterday. I slept for like 6 extra hours. Was so sick afterwards. So I did get a surprise today. I got a surprise delivery. Becca had a ring light for me because she knew I was coming up tonight. Yeah,
that's so nice.
Still
that
playing
is
around
sweet.
with it, but it was super sweet. So
that is super sweet. Kimberly's joining us as well, saying hello, ladies. Hi, Kimberly. Welcome to the conversation. So, what'd you guys, since you brought up the Super Bowl and we're waiting for Kathleen, what'd you think of the halftime show?
I loved it. This is the first. I can't believe I actually had the Super Bowl on. Like I didn't watch it, but I had the Super Bowl on in my living room the whole entire time. But and my husband wasn't even home. It was just me and the girls. But yeah, I love the Super Bowl, the halftime show, and me and my oldest daughter, we had a big dance party in the living room, and I was like sweating afterwards. It was so much fun.
Very fun. What about you, Erin?
I thought it was great. It took me back to like my college, Paulie's lamppost days, dancing. The kids loved it. My kids were dancing too. Becca loved it. My friend Christine came over. She was in her glory. But it was funny to see a lot of people on Facebook, like saying like worst Super Bowl show ever, and it was just so crazy. But I loved when 50 Cent came out Upside Down. I was like going crazy. So I thought it was wonderful.
I liked it as well. That's definitely for my genre of time. I thought it was always liked Dr. Dre. Snoop Dogg was just so, smooth like he always is. There's just something about him, calm, cool, and collected. My sons were mortified. Of course, they're like, Mom's over there rocking out. So there were no dance parties. I was the only one dancing around here. Once they're teenagers, you're out, you're on your own. So it was a lot of fun. I thought it was fun, and people are encouraging them to go on tour now. I don't know if they could pull that off. That'd be a pretty Possibly, but it'd be a pretty expensive tour. You get all those headliners together. The price of the tickets would be astronomical, right, to be able to pay them what they're worth. So I don't know if it would, how you'd get a lot of people, but it would also derail a lot of people. But all right, so let's delve into our topic of the month. I'm going to start with you, Erin. And the topic is do something nice for someone you love. I mean, we have Becca who got the ring light. I don't know, maybe she ought to be popping in. But what do you do?
I kind of blew up my contribution here. I was going to flip it and say something was very nice done for me. This nice ring light that I'm using, again, trying to adjust it. So I think this week I've been the recipient of the niceness. So, and I wasn't really feeling great the last couple of days, and she's been very helpful with the kids and around the house and stuff. So I have to say I've been the recipient of the nice things, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, well, that is wonderful. And that was one of our challenge. We encouraged our viewers to hop on the bandwagon and do our 2 challenges, which are do something nice for yourself or do something nice for someone you love. So that's a nice story. What about you, Court?
So my husband and I agreed to not gift each other anything for Valentine's Day. But last minute I ran out and got him a couple goodies. And it worked out because he actually did the same for me. And I feel like that happens often. Like whenever we say we're not going to, exchange gifts, we end up doing it anyway. But that's what I did.
That is sweet. So I did something nice for my son, Patrick, because, the weekend of his birthday, he went to a sleepover on Friday night. Then he went and he worked on Saturday night. He came home. He didn't get home till 11. And I knew he was tired, and he's kind of like a germaphobe. So he said he had a shower, he said he had a shower, and I happened to go into his room and I saw that he had done his laundry and all of his sheets and blankets were just piled on the bed. So I knew he was going to have to make the bed. And you know how it is when you're tired. The last thing you want to do at midnight is to start making your bed. So I went ahead and made the bed for him, and he was so happy.
Aww.
I do have to say one other thing I forgot to mention. My oldest son was actually asked to be in a wedding this last week. It was a random Thursday night. He got asked to escort his teacher down the aisle, so it was really cute. And for a gift, we got them their wedding cake. So we got a nice cake so they could take some pretty pictures, flowers on it, and everything. So
that is so sweet.
Nice. Yeah.
Of course, I'm disappointed because I thought I was going to be the officiant. I got bumped from the program.
We almost had to tap you in.
Well, next time. So great. So then, all right. So we talked about doing something nice for someone that we love. What about doing something nice for ourselves? You got the COVID shot. I don't know if that qualifies, but what about you, Court? We'll jump to Erin next.
So I didn't actually do anything yet, but I think I kind of had a mindset switch this week. I heard somebody say, I think it was on TikTok, somebody said that from now on they're going to, hi Kathleen.
Yeah.
They're going to focus on imperfect consistency instead of all or nothing. And I think a lot of us do that. Like when we mess up, like let's say on our diet, we mess up on our diet. So we're like, oh, I had that piece of pizza, so I might as well, have the cake too. And sometimes I kind of feel like that, but I'm just keeping that in the back of my mind that imperfect consistency is better than all or nothing. So that's something that I've been keeping in the back of my head this week. And it's really improved how I go about my day to day. And it doesn't even have to be just about diet. It could be about anything.
All right, great. So Kathleen, I don't know if you want to, we already went through, you can throw it all in there. If you have anything to celebrate, you can throw it in, or we also talked about doing something nice for someone you love and then doing something nice for ourselves. What do you have, a fancy new headset?
Oh, that's just from work. I'm a dual person today.
All right, so jump in. Tell us, catch us up and all that.
For self-love, I got myself this iWatch. See?
I love it.
Nice.
Now I just need to learn how to use it.
Next week.
For doing something for someone I love. I did run out about half hour to go to get dinner, and then try to be back on time, but I had one other thing I had to do for work, so sorry I was late. But I did, I thought that was nice for me to do, even though I've had a long day already. And then what else? What else did I miss?
You have anything to celebrate? Did you celebrate anything?
So I literally am celebrating that I drank all my water every single day this week.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So super, super proud of myself for that. Because I have been on and off struggling with that. And I think it's a lot easier in the summertime, to be honest, to drink all that water. But that's what I'm celebrating for this week, to stay on track with drinking water.
Perfect. And then, Erin, did you do anything for yourself this week?
Well, one thing I did, we found out that Sakati Center is actually open on Sundays. We originally thought that it wasn't. So something that Beck and I we agreed on is we're going to each week give each other an hour out of the house, no kids, to go work out and just enjoy the gym ourselves. So that's a commitment that we made, discussion. So hopefully starting this week, we'll get into that habit. But
perfect. So I did something for us. I started researching and training for the triathlon. So I looked into the Vent. Vent is in fitness. I looked at the Y. The Y by my office is closed currently, but Vent has I looked at the pool membership. So I'm thinking of joining. I'm not ready for that, but I started taking double classes at the spin studio. I did some research on some triathlon that we could do. There's several in Cape Cod, actually, which I think would be fun. One right in Falmouth, which is where I usually go every year, and I like it there. So I found out we want to do a sprint triathlon as opposed to the Ironman, but they do have one in Lake Georgia. I would have liked to have done, but it's on Labor Day. So, and I'm typically away that day, but the Falmouth Sprint Triathlon is the one that I am. Well, we have two options, three options. Falmouth Sprint Triathlon is on July 10th. It's a 3-mile swim, an 8.5 mile bike ride, and a 3.1 mile run. So that's pretty modest, And then they also have a Hyannis. If we need more time to train, if we think July is too soon, we could do the Hyannis Triathlon, which is September 10th. And that's a 1/4 mile swim. We lost Kathleen talking about the triathlon. She's out.
I'm here though, but I am out.
You can come with us though. A 1/4 mile swim, a 10-mile bike ride, and a 3.6 mile run. So
yeah, we need a cheerleader.
That's right. So, I'm good at that.
So July 10th or September 10th. 10 is one of my lucky numbers. So let's think about it. Those are two. I'd love to do it in Cape Cod because then we can make a fun weekend out of it.
Super
cool. I love it.
All right. So, and I want to say
the cheerleader. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. And then Frank is saying he got his wife a Michael Kors watch, which is very nice. A box of chocolates and a Valentine's Day card. That's very sweet.
Very sweet.
Yeah. I'm sure she loved all of those things. A Michael Kors watch, you really upped your game. And hopefully she got you something nice as well. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, so our topic of the week, let's segue into that. We have fashion finds. Did you guys find anything funky? Or anything at all? Courtney's wearing a fashion find.
So unfortunately, I found out that low-rise jeans are coming back. Not good for me.
Yeah. They're not coming back in this house.
And we've seen a lot of crop tops recently, but since the low-rise jeans are coming back, so we'll be seeing longer tops also. I kind of tried to research what's coming for this spring. Color blocking and experimenting with color. People are sick of being inside, so I think we're going to be seeing a lot of chaotic and we don't care maximalist type of dressing. Elle magazine labels this as dopamine dressing. So And then the top colors are going to be orange, red, and pink.
I like those. I like the colors at least.
Yeah, me too.
So in my poncho, like everybody's in the, I need a poncho for the low rise jeans. My poncho will be pink. What about Kathleen or Ann? Did you find anything?
Well, something that I've noticed, I went to get dress pants a couple weeks ago, and there's no like regular dress pants. They're all either like cropped, which I think is weird in winter, or like high waist, which high waist just after having a baby is like also a no. Low waist and high waist, like give me a middle waist, please. Like, so I ended up getting these high waist, like, you know, like the buttons all the way out, like sailor front. So I got those, I sucked it up, sucked it in, and made it work. But just there's no mid-level pants, dress pants. Drove me nuts.
What about you, Kathleen?
Well, I heard that those puff shirts are coming back with like.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw
I
it.
was like, come on. I hate those things, and you won't be seeing me wearing them, although I'm never in the fashion much anyway. But yeah, I did see that those are coming back.
I think they're at Target right now. I see them there all the time.
They're just not flattering. The puffy
No.
shirt. I don't know. They're, well, anything's flattering if you're a size 0. So I suppose the puffy
Yes.
shirts look fine on that. I saw these big, huge purses. I mean, when I say purse, did you see it? It's like
The
it's just
luggage?
like a leather bag, but you can fit like 2 days worth of supplies in them. It's like this huge. It looks like a purse, but it's like down to the foot or the ankle. So I thought that was pretty funny. And I
Joanne,
usually
you can swap out the backpack for the
with the big purse.
bag.
And I never travel lightly, so I was thinking, yeah, that would be perfect for me. But it must be, I can imagine it slipping down my shoulder, and then it would not work for anyone under 5'4", I would say. But you have to look them up. It's so funny. And then the other thing is lace is coming back, and I do like lace. I mean, I like the crocheted look. It reminds me of that in the winter. I always love a nice crocheted, and they're hard to find. But now the lace is coming back. They're not always. I don't care for every style, but they had pantsuits, they had cute short sets, little jumpers, and even some nice dresses. I mean, they're mostly in white. It's difficult for me to wear white because it just, it gets dirty so quickly. I'm not it seems like I just sit down and something happens, but so I don't typically wear white, but if they had other colors of lace, I would probably like it, even off-white or a white shirt. I could do a white shirt, but the white pants just never work for me. It's always a nightmare. So we got Justin here. Justin's asking about The Amazing Race. We didn't look into that yet, but we do want to look into that. That's on our agenda for sure. Okay, so our global topic, did anybody pick something? I have something if we don't, and I think it'll be a topic of conversation everybody would like to jump into. I'll talk about.
You sold me.
All right, I talk about mine. So I don't know if anybody, if anybody's a fan of SNL or Community, but Chevy Chase came out this week. Well, it's funny because my son talks about these types of things all the time. So for the last year or two, he's been saying, and I didn't believe it actually. He's been saying that, many of Chevy Chase's coworkers are, I don't know if they call them coworkers on movie sets, but colleagues, I guess, have come out and said what a jerk he is and how inappropriately and how inappropriate he is and how difficult he is to work with. And, for us, and, I grew up with him and I just always had thought he was very funny. But I think the reports now are coming out and they've been substantiated. And he came out in an interview and somebody asked him how he feels when he feels his former colleagues describe him as a jerk and they're detailing their negative experiences with him. And he responded, "I don't give a crap." That's one of his responses. He said he doesn't care what anyone thinks of him and he is content with himself. He explained, "I am who I am and I like who I am and it's part of me. I don't care. And I've thought about that a lot and I don't know what to tell you, man. I just don't care." And so on one hand, I'm trying about it. On one hand, I don't think that we should care what other people think of us. And I definitely think that we should live our uninhibited in the way that we choose to. But then on the other hand, I think that when we're in, that we should concern ourselves with worries about what, I believe we have a moral obligation to treat others with kindness and act appropriately, particularly in the workplace or if we hold a position of authority. And I think as I began to read more about what the complaints were, it's pretty clear that, it's more than his response shouldn't be, I don't give a crap. I mean, the castmates reported him using the N-word and making racial attacks and cracks between takes. And I think the really sad part of it is that in the interview he was talking about, and this is how the conversation came up, he was talking about being physically abused by his stepfather when he was young and how he hated bullies. And really that's how he got into the entertainment business. But essentially he's behaving like a bully. And it's really, and I get that, we're a product of our environment and hurt other people. But, I think we're all entitled, and I know this will resonate with Aaron, we're all entitled to work in an environment free of hostility, where our civil rights are preserved, and we all deserve common courtesy and basic respect, regardless of, if you're the star of a show or you're the manager in a department store or, you're the head cashier at the grocery store. I think that we do have a moral and ethical obligation, and it's not as easy to say, I don't give a crap how people feel after we treat them poorly, because I've seen people in many different organizations, one person can make an environment toxic, and it just impacts people personally and professionally. And I don't think that the answer for me, I don't give a crap, just doesn't cut it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you definitely shouldn't care about what people think, but you shouldn't care about what people think about your clothes and what music you like, but you should care if they think that you're a jerk, in my opinion,
if it's warranted.
Right.
If it's warranted.
So somebody, I think he just recently came to Albany to
Really?
do some sort of like talking tour with, and I think my sister's on. She might have been the one that told me this, but someone told me that he's like really out there right now, like can't even take care of himself, like bordering on, I think either maybe like dementia or something like that. Don't quote me. I heard that. And like, I think his wife was with him and was like really taking care of him. So I'm not surprised by that comment whatsoever, if that's the case. But yeah, completely unexcusable. I'm sure, I think he's sober now too. So I'm sure his behavior back then, is totally unwarranted, but also too might have been influenced by other substances as well too. So completely inexcusable, but not surprised by it whatsoever.
My sister went and saw him too at the Madison Theater, I think, before Christmas vacation. And she said the same thing. Like, he couldn't even function on stage. His wife was answering the questions.
Yeah.
And he's just totally, like, that's what they said. Dementia is definitely running rampant for him. So I certainly feel bad for him, but, and is getting older, but certainly doesn't excuse any of that.
I didn't realize that, and that's really too bad. And maybe some of that was prompted, but it's certainly the earlier years. So yeah, so it's something to be mindful, and it's not really meant to be a personal attack on Chevy. It's just meant to be a bit of mindfulness for ourselves and the people that we work with, and I don't think that people. And I say this very loosely and lightly because obviously we don't want anybody to derail their profession or their job. I mean, you have to be mindful of that and safeguard your economic well-being. But, in the event that you're being mistreated and you have a pathway to remedy it, I encourage you not to stay silent. But at the same time, you have to make that decision for yourself on a personal level, because we can't. Some people some people have union protection, but other people, in private industry, you can just be dismissed, and that's the end of the day. So, just do what's best for you. And if you can't speak up and you have the opportunity to leave, don't be afraid to change, because, it may lead to a much better pathway for you. All right. So what's next? All right. Courtney's Corner. Let's jump into that.
So I kind of wanted to talk about screen time with children. I recently did a screen time detox. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. And they seemed to constantly be fighting with each other, having tantrums, being super irritable, having trouble sleeping. So, and I just became tired of it. So I stumbled across an Instagram post from Jerica Sands. She has a free detox on her page, and she, described how to have a screen time detox with your kids. And ever since I started that, I see a totally different side of them. They're using their imaginations more. They're playing together, not fighting as much. And I think it's really important for kids to be bored, because that's when, they begin to use their imaginations. They play independently enough so that I can get breaks during the day. And I don't even need to beg for a break as much anymore, because the days go by so much smoother. So if you want to check out her page, it's Jerica Sands. And you can learn more about her research and more tips on how to do the screen time detox. A couple of things that I did was I started playing like soft music in the background during the day. You can set up a craft or like a cozy book, like a reading nook for them. So that's a couple of things that I did to make the detox go a little bit smoother. But I've seen a huge difference in them.
All right, great. I think that works for adults as well.
Yeah, and it's not to like shame anyone if you do, give your kids screen time. It's just something to think about. And you just gotta have to do whatever is best for you and your family. And I, break that rule sometimes. Like, I'm a sucker for like the holiday movies. And like today, my daughter is really sick, so I kind of just let her watch as much TV as she wanted on the couch. But yeah, just something to think about.
Yeah, well, Katie's tuning in, and she did a social media detox the last 2 days. I feel nice and refreshed. And actually, I love that. And I didn't do an entire social media detox, because I am relying on it a little bit for our programs. But I have made it a point not to. I would be checking out people's pages or looking at TikTok or, saying, oh, let me see what this person's up to. And, I purposely and very mindfully stopped doing that, because, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit in Tierney's Tidbits, but before I do that, I want to go to, I'm dying to roll this out. I want to go to the Vandenberg Vault to see what.
Ooh, I love that.
I love it. Well, it's funny that you mentioned Cape Cod, because I wanted to think of something a little bit positive now that it's, we're still stuck in winter. But one of the things that I've been focusing on is planning some fun summer trips for our family. So, one of the things we always do for Jake's birthday, my middle guy, is we go to Cape Cod. So we went ahead and finalized our booking, because houses book up there fast. So we're going to go the last week of July, and it's really great because my family goes, my sister and her boyfriend go, my mom and dad go, and then of course our family, and everyone gets together for certain things. But then we kind of also have our own traditions, which is really cool. Like, we like to go to the Pirate Museum and the Cape Cod Ship Factory. So, it's really good because it's time together with family and having that tradition, but then also to kind of keeping, smaller traditions as well within the group. So I'm very excited about that. We also booked a trip to Sesame Place. So that's in June. So just wanted to, see the group's thoughts on any trips coming up and get us in the mindset of warm weather coming. I'm putting it out into the universe. Warm weather is coming.
And it's coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's short lived. Now, do you go to the Cape Cod Children's Museum? Have you ever traveled over to there in Falmouth?
I haven't. I don't think so, but I think that would be great to put on the list this year.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. They have like a mini restaurant, a little
Okay.
a post office. They have a train, and well, it doesn't move, but a train. My kids loved it. We went every year. We went every year. We went. It was our big tradition there, and it's perfect for your kids, your
Yeah.
children's ages. But once they get to be maybe 10, they outgrow it, but they have a lot of fun things. A cute little gift shop where I got a lot of unique things over the years. Back in the day, a lot of sensory toys and things like that. So yeah, put that on your list.
Will
I
do.
don't have any trips planned because it's tough when you started a new endeavor. We're in the midst of planning a family vacation, and my sister's taking the helm on that. So that should be coming up. We were planning on going back to Virginia Beach, one of my favorite places. So I'm looking forward to that. That will probably be the only vacation I take this year besides the triathlon. So I don't know if I'm going to go to Cape Cod. I usually go to Cape Cod at the end of the summer, but I'm not sure if I'll make it there because my son will be going to college that week. So, my plans are kind of up in the air, and I can't, I'm not going to, usually I take 2 or 3 weeks off in the summer. I'm probably going to have to curb that this year, but I don't know. What about you, Kathleen? I know Court's probably coming with me, but I don't know about Kathleen.
I mean, I could come with you too.
That's true. You could.
Just kidding. I thought about renting a house in Cape Cod, actually. My son's girlfriend's mom owns a place there. And I almost booked, but I just didn't because I have my 2 kids are older, and Andrew is going to Las Vegas again this year for the USBC tournament. And that's, going to cost me money. So away from my own expenses. So I think I'm going to send both my kids there again this year, I hope. And, Mark and I will probably do some weekend things. Nothing major.
Justin has a good idea. Ladies' night in Cape Cod. We love it, Justin.
Yeah, I'm in.
Holistic health and hot mamas on location.
Yeah, in Cape Cod.
In the hot tub.
That's true. In the hot tub, and we could, during the triathlon, we could have the GoPro. We could stream it live.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Kathleen
idea.
could do it. Kathleen could be
That's
recording.
Right.
Yeah, our program
I could
person.
be the correspondent. I love it.
All right, perfect. So we went to the vault. We have the tidbits. Now, what about Ford's facts?
Well, I didn't have a lot of time to look anything up, but I did learn something new this week. Did you know why people say bless you?
Oh, I think is it because if you sneezed, they thought you were going to die?
Spirits or
No.
something?
If you sneeze, your heart stops for a millisecond. So they say bless you. So it starts back up. So there you go. That's all I have for today. Sorry, guys. At least you learned something from me today if you didn't know it before.
We learn something from you every week.
Well, I hope it's positive.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about happiness, and I think Courtney kind of correlates with some of the things that Courtney was talking about. And I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I'm always on the quest for happiness, but and I know so many people who are, but I don't know many people who are really truly happy. and I started thinking about, and I was wondering, what are we looking for? Are our expectations too high in regard to happiness? I mean, we're programmed to believe happiness is the goal. But it's a perpetual quest. Well, we're looking for the elusive holy grail, the secret to a perfect life, but that just doesn't exist. I always think, if I'm at this point, and I started thinking about it back when I was in my 20s, all I wanted to do was get married. And then I got married, and then I wanted to have children, and then I wanted to have a successful career, and then I wanted to be in the best shape of my life. And I did all those things, and I still wasn't, really happy. I don't think. I don't think that I've ever found this elusive happiness. I've had countless happy moments in my life, but have I ever had have I ever had just this feeling of happiness and contentment? And I haven't. And I'm thinking, who does? and maybe that's not really supposed to be the goal. Instead, you know, are we just meant to live a life of value and to find fulfillment in the activities and the things and the relationships that we have? And I think that that's probably true. And I think that I have to really shift my mindset and come to that place. I mean, I think about social media, and we talked about that, and the habit we get into of comparison. And it's funny, I've seen a couple of photo shoots recently. I have a friend who's in the fitness business, and then metabolic and spin rev and all of those things, and I see people in those photo shoots, and I also see them on their personal pages, and I become to realize that they don't look anything like that. One picture is deceiving because they don't look anything like, they look like two totally different bodies in both of those pictures. And social comparison on social media is such a trap. You think, oh, that person looks so fabulous, their hair is perfect, their eyelashes are great, they're so thin, their wardrobe's so nice, but it's not really real. And so instead, I'm going to seek a life of fulfillment. And I don't know what's going to make me happy. And I think that just understanding that, because all the things that I've thought would make me happy, I have, or I've received, or I've gotten to that level. And so now I'm just in the process. I'm going to pursue endeavors that matter to me, like this program, spending time with the people I enjoy. And I'm just going to continue to choose the actions that propel me further to my goals. That's not to say I'm not going to have goals, but I'm going to break out of that mindset that, I have to be happy. And I'm just going to live a life in alignment with my values. And I think that that's important too. You can't be happy if you're doing things that don't align with your values. And I saw something great. I don't know if I talked about it on this program before, but it really made me think about it. And this was, he was talking about love, but it was on the Tony Robbins special. I think it's I'm Not Your Guru or something. I'm not sure. That's a great documentary. Not everybody's a Tony Robbins fan, but I gravitate towards him sometimes. And other times I don't like him, but other times I do. And he had this woman on there, and there's like an audience, like it's pre-COVID, and he has this seminar, and probably 5,000 people are in the room, and he just seems to know he can. Well, they interview people, but he asked people to stand up in the crowd, and he asked this woman to stand up, and he said to her, "Tell me about whatever your relationship," and she started telling him about how she was in a relationship, and he said, and throughout the course of the conversation, it was clear that he wasn't meant for her, because he was very nice, and she said, I don't see myself with him long term, but I don't want to hurt his feelings, and he said, that's, I don't know how he said it, but essentially that's a cop out, and you're not doing him any favors. You're doing a disservice. And so in this room with this 5,000 people, he said, call and break up with him right now. And he said, no, he said, call, you know what you have to do. And she said, yes. And she said, I have to break up with him. And he said, do it right now. And so everybody in this audience went completely silent, and we couldn't hear the gentleman, but she got on and she did it, and she was very kind about it. She said, it's this, I'm being unfair to you. And then all these people embraced her, and she said to them, and he said to her afterwards, what did you feel in those moments afterwards? And she said, I felt loved like I've never had been before, because all of these people supported her. And he said, if you do the right thing, the things that you desire will come to you. So she was desiring love. And so essentially was saying, in this moment, you it's not the kind of love that you expected, but you've been searching for love, and you got it in this moment. So I thought that was very, very poignant. And so that's what I'm going to do. And seeking fulfillment as opposed to happiness, it allows room for other emotions. When we're only looking to be happy, and that's the only emotion we want to feel, we don't allow discomfort or disappointment. We can't accept or process those emotions because we've been programmed to believe we're just supposed to be happy, but that's not how life works. We are going to have hardship. We're going to have grief. We're going to have disappointment. And that's a reality for all of us. So my advice, and this is what I'm going to encourage myself to do and focus on. I'm going to focus on others because serving others serves us. I'm going to look internally and I'm going to take a look at the periods when I felt most fulfilled and try to get myself back to or at least capture some of that and push out the things that, is there a theme or a pattern? What was I feeling? What were my hobbies? What was I doing at that moment in time? Who were the people that I was spending time with that made me feel that sense of fulfillment? And I'm gonna practice gratitude and foster positive connections. So that's my plan.
I love that so much. I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago, and he said something like, whatever you're chasing, like if you're chasing like the dream job or whatever it is, once you get it, it's not going to fulfill you unless you enjoyed the journey. So I think that's what it's about. You have to enjoy the journey that you're on. Even if you don't have the thing that you want yet, you have to enjoy the process of getting there.
And
Agree.
can I just say, Joe, you have like the best way with words. Like everything that you just said is just exactly how I feel like internally. Like I feel like I'm always looking for, or maybe I'm trying to make everybody else happy instead of, putting myself first sometimes, but you always say it in such an elegant and poignant way. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. That's why I'm fostering this positive connection with you. Because you are one of the positive, bright lights in the world for sure.
And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Like I can definitely relate to that. I feel like I'm always, looking for the next thing to make me happy. So I'm sure you helped a lot of people by talking about that.
Perfect.
And I will say, Joanne, you're always someone I go to for advice, and I value that. So you've always been a positive influence in my life and a good source of good advice. So,
well, thank you. And that is reciprocal with everybody here. I mean, I certainly consider the three of you to be three of my certainly closest friends, and I love you all dearly. And Katie's chiming in, preach, Joanne, toxic positivity is so real. Sometimes we just need to embrace the bad feelings just as much as the good. And Justin, thank you. I look pretty tonight. I think all the ladies look pretty, but thank you, Justin. I take any compliment. That is something that I feel being complimented does fulfill me, Justin. So I am going to continue to soak in that. Soak in those compliments. I appreciate it. So let's talk about somebody who's phenomenal. Well, I'm assuming that you guys, did anybody look up any women for Black History Month, or that's fallen on me? Because of course I did. But I started to think about Maddie Court. And last week she came over, and Maddie is, how old is Maddie? 5? 5. So, she's 5 years old. She's super shy now. She doesn't, she doesn't like to talk very much. She used to like to sleep over. She doesn't like to sleep over now. She's just kind of insulated herself. And I was thinking about Ryan, and he's 5 as well, right? Air? Is he 5 or 4?
He'll be 5. Yep. Almost 5. Yep. Nice.
So here we have these 2 little kids, and we talk about Black history. We're honoring women in Black History Month. And I just started reading about some women, and one woman caught my eye, and because I've been thinking about, because my kids are getting older, and I've been thinking about kindergarten, what a great time that is, and Ryan's going into kindergarten, Maddie's in kindergarten, and I recalled this story, and I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Ruby Bridges, but when at 6 years old, she was the first Black child to desegregate the all-white William Frantz Elementary School in Louisiana during the New Orleans school desegregation crisis. And on her first day, at 6 years old, she and her mother had to be escorted through an angry crowd of white parents and students by 4 federal marshals. So this little pint-sized girl, I find it amusing in some ways when she didn't realize, she remembers, she said she remembered driving up and seeing the crowd, but living in New Orleans, she thought it was Mardi Gras. So she didn't realize that she was coming into this. And her parents responded to a request from the NAACP and volunteered Ruby to participate in the integration of Black children into the New Orleans school system. And to do so, of course, there was resistance and you had to take a test to get in. Ruby was only one of 6 Black children in New Orleans who passed the test that made them eligible to attend a white school. But out of the 6 children, 2 decided to stay where they were. 3 were transferred to another school, the McDonough 19 public school, and Ruby was the only child to go to William Franz, and she went alone on that first day. And she had to be escorted by the marshals for months. Her mother had to stay home and take care of her 4 younger siblings, and I think she may have had 4 or 5 older siblings. I forgot, and then I don't know if you ever saw, she was actually the subject of the 1964 Norman Rockwell painting, and it's called The Problem We All Live With. And it was her being escorted by the 4 marshals, federal marshals, with her little outfit on. And the story is that she was a child psychologist, agreed to see her because it was such a stressful period in her life. And he donated his time to her. And one of his friends donated all of the clothes that Ruby needed to wear because her family couldn't afford the little dresses. And in the picture, you see her in this cute little pristine outfit that she got from another family. And one of the U.S. Marshals recalled, he said this about Ruby at the time: she showed a lot of courage. She never cried. She just marched along like a little soldier. And we're all very, very proud of her. And, it's so sad to me. As soon as she entered the school, many white families pulled their children out. And all the teachers, except for one, they all refused to teach her except for one. They didn't want to teach. They said they wouldn't teach any classes that had a Black child in them. And one woman who was from the North, her name is Barbara Henry, and she's from Boston, and she taught Ruby alone for over a year. And she just stood in front of the classroom and just taught as if she was talking to a whole classroom. And really, she's a heroine of this story too. And I might, in March, I might look her up and find her story. But every morning as Ruby walked to school, one woman threatened to poison her every day. So this little kindergartner had to hear that. And another woman would hold up a Black baby doll in a coffin, and to mimic that, Ruby, I assume, threatening Ruby's life. So she wasn't allowed to, because they feared for her life, this little tiny thing. She wasn't allowed to eat any food that didn't come from her own home. And her family suffered. Her father lost his job as a gas station attendant. The grocery store would no longer allow them to shop there. Her grandparents, who lived in Mississippi and were sharecroppers, were barred from their land. They were removed from the land and turned off. And her parents ended up separating because initially her father had been reluctant to allow Ruby to go to the school, and then the mother wanted to do it. She talked him into it, and so her family suffered. There were bright spots. Her father was offered another job by a neighbor, and local people babysat for her mother, and others protected their home because they were always under some type of threat. But it's sad. Now Ruby is the founder of the Ruby Bridges Foundation, and it's meant to promote the values of tolerance, respect, and appreciation of all differences. And she says, and I think this is very poignant, she says, racism is a grown-up disease, and we must stop using our children to spread it. So I think that's pretty significant.
Yeah, I am very proud of her for her perseverance, but those adults is just so disgusting. I can't imagine any adult treating any child that way.
Agreed. I mean, even if you have a philosophical difference, and it was a different time, and of course, none of us, we certainly, none of us would harbor that type of feelings. But I think to myself, even if you have a negative I don't know, whatever, just a negative feeling about, let's say, a different race. How can you do that to a kindergartner? I mean, don't you have any compassion at all? I mean,
Right.
or, it's like when people abuse animals. I just can't imagine, regardless of how I felt about anything, being able to be to subject a child to, to threatening to poison them or holding up a coffin. And I mean, what does that speak to their own lives? And in many instances, and of course I don't know these people and I don't know all of the stories, but in many instances, I'm sure at the time everybody was a God-fearing or a Christian or a Lutheran, or here you were, I'm sure you were part of a church and a organized religion, because that was the mantra of the day. And how can, that's certainly not a demonstration of godliness, in my opinion, regardless of what religion you are.
Agreed.
So
Yeah,
sad.
I agree.
So, all right. And so now my current, I wanted to talk about, because it's the Olympics and there are so many great athletes. And of course, we talk about sports on the network, but I started thinking about the athletes, and who better to talk about than Simone Biles. I mean, she's really, she's a U.S. gymnast, an Olympian. She's part of the gold medal winning team of the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Summer Olympics. And then she was here for 2020 in Tokyo. And she was, and the team won a silver medal in that event. And she's the first female gymnast to win three world all-around titles in a row. She's very impressive. She's the most decorated American gymnast. She has 32 total world and Olympic medals. She's won the most world championship medals by a woman gymnast in history, 25 to date, and 19 of those are golds. But I think there's so much more to her than that. I'm sure that most people know about the Larry Nassar, the U.S. gymnastics doctor who had been sexually abusing the athletes for years. And she was one of the people who came out and stood against him. And when asked about, it was prompted by that story. A reporter asked, do you think you're obligated to stand up when something bad is going on in society? And she answered, I want to read it, but she said, personally, for me, I don't think of it as an obligation. I think of it as an honor to speak for the less fortunate and for the voiceless. And I think you don't have to do that. Most people don't have to do that. She did not. Many people would hide the fact that they were sexually abused. Many people are and that's their right. Many people fear embarrassment or shame. And I think that as victims, you have that right to protect yourself. You don't have to expose your story. We should all only speak to what we feel comfortable doing so. And we don't have to exploit our own personal tragedy to help others. But the fact that she wants to do it, and that she doesn't feel obligated to do it, and that she thinks of it as an honor, I just found that to be really striking. And not only that, and I don't know if anybody, how closely anybody follows her, but in Tokyo, she really suffered a mental, she was really inhibited by a breakdown in her mental health. And she said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have that quote in front of me, but she said, to really be out there doing something I've done my entire life and not to be able to do it because I was physically, my mental well-being was physically impaired. And she really attributes a lot of that to the trauma of the trial and that whole story coming out, was really, really shocking and alarming. She did come back and she was able to compete in the team competition. And I believe she got a medal on the balance beam as well. I'm pretty sure she did, but she said now she's learned many techniques to help with mental wellness. And now she spreads awareness about the importance of mental health and the availability of mental health services and practitioners. She's actually now, I think she's on the board of a health and wellness app that's meant to help others. And she really just wants to pay it forward and help other people. And there are so many athletes who don't do that, and they're in any profession. That's not to speak about, but I think a lot of times we look to celebrities, particularly young women or young teenagers, people in their 20s, they, think about the Kardashians. We have this whole generation who thinks the Kardashians are amazing, and they do things for the most of the time I think the Kardashians do things for publicity. I don't think they're really out there trying to save the world, but I applaud anybody, even if she wasn't a celebrity. She's a young woman in her 20s. I remember my 20s, the only thing I cared about was what was the special at the Partridge Pub that week. I wasn't trying to save humanity by any means. I was trying to save myself from a hangover. That was the extent of my social do-gooding. So I really applaud those people who seemingly have everything, which we know they don't. Nobody has everything, but she's still out there trying to make a difference and help other people in the world.
Yeah, I really like her a lot. She has I'm pretty sure a Netflix. Oh no, I think it's a YouTube documentary about her life, and if you watch that, you can really learn a lot more about her story.
Mm-hmm.
Did I see she just got engaged?
She did. I saw that. I saw that today. I don't know much about that. I don't know who her
I think he's an NFL player.
is. Oh, so that's exciting.
Yep.
That's
It was a
exciting.
basketball. I don't know.
I don't know either. I just saw it. I follow her on Instagram, so I did see that. I think she got engaged on Valentine's Day or the day before.
Oh, that's sweet. Perpetual Valentine. So, and they were saying, well, I think he is an NFL player. I seem to recall that too. Either way, he's an athlete as well, and hopefully that works out for the long run for sure. All right, so we're at 7:57. What do we have? We have the Hot Mamas Challenge. I mean, did anybody learn anything new?
I did not.
I learned things on the job, but they're not very exciting. They're about math. I don't think anybody has any interest in that.
I learned that if you want a confidence boost, hang out with a bunch of kindergartners, because when I'm at my daughter's lunch, they all come up to me and they're like, "You're so pretty. Your hair is so pretty. You're so nice," and they give you hugs and high fives, and it's the best.
That is cute. That reminds me of something. So, I started at a new place, and of course, when the mask mandates were in place when I started, so you go through security, nobody knows what you look like. So this really brightened my week, which is why I'm going to say it at one day. So the mask mandate was lifted this week. So I was leaving one day, and the night security person, I came out of the elevator. I'm like, "All right, have a good night." He's like, "Oh, you're pretty." he said, "I can't tell what anybody looks like under those masks." So that made me feel good. I was thinking, all right, well, okay, yeah, he seemed shocked that I was so hang around with the security guards in your office too, and they'll boost your confidence as well.
Yeah,
I don't know about mine. I don't think so.
Oh yeah, yours maybe not. So Bobby, I always learn from all of you just a different perspective. Thank you, Bobby, and happy birthday to Bobby. Bobby had a big birthday this week. So
happy birthday.
Happy
to you.
birthday,
Bobby.
And yeah, all right. And if you want to, here's another person who boosts my confidence. I got Justin. Joe, you're pretty. Thank you, Justin. And Justin's probably okay. Thank you, Justin. He's saying all you ladies are pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Justin.
you. So Justin's our main squeeze. So all right. So I think we should think about a new challenge, because to learn something new is not working out. So what else can we challenge one another to do? Maybe do something outside of our comfort zone. So Bobby's saying, "Thank you, 56. You look like you're 26. So look at that beautiful
Wow,
picture."
yeah.
I like that challenge, because that was my challenge to myself for 2022 anyway.
All right. So, and that's across all genres. If we just do something outside of our comfort zone, whether it's, like sticking up for ourselves, like Erin, I think has a hard time with that. And I do as well sometimes, not so much, but I think that there's sometimes, but I think that there's something that we could do to do something outside of our comfort zone, even if it's wear the high-rise jeans or the low-rise jeans, the mid-rise, whatever we're doing now, whatever the rise is. let's think about something. All right, so and we don't have to do it every week. We'll just see if it comes up and what we can find. Challenge ourselves to become better in some way throughout the course of the week. That's all we're gonna do.
Love that.
And so next week we are going to talk about our topic of the week is going to be beauty brands. So, so Katie loves our challenge. We grow the most when we are uncomfortable. Agreed. All right. So we're going to challenge you to do something too, Katie, and report on it next week. Maybe you can pop on camera. So do your hair and makeup, and we can have you on as a special guest. You can tell us what made you feel uncomfortable this week, and maybe
she can come.
She can what?
She can come do mine before I get on.
And she can give us some dirt on Aaron. So we got some old childhood stories.
Not that part.
That'll be a new segment. Well, I'll think of that. And what can we say? Sister. Oh, we all have sisters. We should recycle our sisters on as a special guest. Oh, you already.
I don't know if you've seen that TikTok where
she's already in. Katie would love to.
The sisters, like, you have to answer like who's the smartest,
I
think we should do that one week.
Yeah, we should.
Love that.
Perfect. Party
I'll
of
let
8.
my sister know tomorrow. Tomorrow would have been my mom's 84th birthday, so we both took it off work to spend the day with each other. So I'll talk to her about coming in and.
All right, happy birthday, Anna. Yeah, I think we should have the sisters come on.
Absolutely. I'll tell my sister, and then she'll get back to me in 7 to 10 business days.
Well, she's in college, isn't she? She has an excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you might have to borrow one of my sisters. So I'm lucky; I have 3, so I always have a spare. So all right, Justin, is Courtney smarter than I am? Yes.
I don't think so. I get all my smarts from Joe.
I think we all are intelligent in our own way, and we bring something different to the table. So I'm definitely looking forward to Katie coming on. Let's start with Katie next week because she's here. All right, Katie, you're on next week. So we'll talk about we'll have a sister segment. Yeah, well, let's do that every week if we can.
I love that.
Grab one of the sisters then. All right, perfect. All right, so it's another great night. He's not one of our sisters, but of course, we always want to thank Chris P. Bacon behind the scenes. We couldn't do anything without him. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We have Frank. Thank you, Frank, for tuning in. It was a lot of fun. Justin, of course. Kimberly was here. Katie was here. Bobby was here. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but I see there are some other viewers who aren't speaking up. So hopefully you enjoyed the show. And, I always enjoy every minute with these 3 ladies. Kimberly saying, have a great week. Oh, you all rock. Thank you all. And Kimberly said, Becca. Oh, Becca, I forgot about Becca. You're all the best. Thank you, Becca. You too. Kim
Becca,
saying,
that's for you.
Oh, Colleen, another sister was here. Good night, girls. Colleen, so all right, we heard you. We put you in the sister segment. Be ready. Oh, Kimberly's my sister. Yeah, we actually have a lot of sisters here tonight. And I'm trying to get to Kim's. Have a great.
For my sister.
See you next week. Oh, my sister then. I got to do that. Hot mamas are hotties. Thank you, Justin. And who else? And I wanted to say, strive for greatness. I think that's what we should all do, Justin. So good words. We're going to give you the closing line tonight, Justin. And I'll actually see you at 10. So you'll have another closing line at 10. But you can play us out, Chris. And thanks, everybody. Another great week.
Thank you.
Hillary.
Enjoy your week.